I find myself continually surprised by what is coming out of people's mouths here. Because this is a topic that I feel like I've spent the past 20 years thinking about a lot, yet every day, or really every hour, I'm going, how about that? I haven't thought about that. Yeah, like have you had that?
Oh yeah, a whole lot, definitely. And hence what I was saying earlier about anxiety. The anxiety is a manifestation of me missing that conversation taking place between art and science in such a synthesized form, and I don't have much access to that outside of working for the dance department at Towson University. So I'm trying to figure out how I can make that illuminated synthesis happen so much more at a higher degree every day in my life back home, because it's been really, really, really inspiring here.
So you're anxious about when you leave,
Yes.
how to maintain or sustain what's been going on here.
Yes, absolutely.
I didn't realize that. Well,
Yeah, it's been much more fueled from this the time here in Salzburg with the seminar.
my anxiety is more that this idea that I want the group to have accomplished something substantive.
Yeah, before we leave. Yeah.
Beyond just having a great meeting,
yeah.
that somehow the field of where the arts and neuroscience meet, in whatever small way, because these are vast topics, they've been around forever, in whatever small way, I want the field to have been nudged by us meeting and then convening, and then afterwards that there's some sort of tail effect where you can see the ripples of what happened here kind of sustain itself through the way the field moves forward. And that, to me, that would be a great thing, and more than I could have hoped to ask for.
One thing I've also been enjoying doing here still is the opportunity to transform the social environment and the conversation environment into a kinetic laboratory as much as possible. Like last night during dinner when we had everyone playing their glasses. And then Nigel conducted us all. I provided the percussion part of the wine glass orchestra. And then we had, what's his name? I believe it's David, who came up and broke down the science of it all.
Yes, sorry. Yes, it was
yeah, that
David
was, I really enjoyed that moment. Do you want to try? No.
I'll have a drink of water now. I'm kidding.
I don't think so.
I should not beatbox. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
One thing I've been enjoying, and this goes into the mechanics of neuroscience regarding this. When I'm playing the glass, I feel myself bouncing back and forth between implicit and explicit, depending on where my focus shifts. And it also depends on whether or not I have enough water around the edge, if I have enough friction control here on the edge of the glass, or if I'm running out of breath, okay, so I have to shift the rhythm to another place. Before this, I've always described it as bouncing back and forth between the unconscious and the conscious, or the automatic parts of the respiratory system, the involuntary and the involuntary. But yeah, it's fascinating to find that there's other languages or other phrases to be used for this kind of experience when I'm playing in a multi-singular form.
I've stuck a laryngoscope up your nose and looked at your voice box when you're beatboxing, and so one thing I learned from doing that was that what's going on in your larynx is crazy when you beatbox. I mean, it's not the kind of movements and physiology that we see in normal human endeavors. So for example, most of us would say that the most important functions of the larynx, number one, protect the airway. So the vocal cords close when there's passage of food or liquid that's going to the esophagus. Right. And number two, to produce vocalizations. And then I think singing is maybe a distant third in terms of primary functions of the larynx. But that's really what the overwhelming, 99% of the population or more, really their laryngeal activity is confined to those things. Yeah. Help you breathe, help you vocalize. Those movements are considered extraordinarily complex alone. And when you look at the physiology of speech production in the larynx, you think about foreign language, you think of tonal languages, that's all the nuances that exist. And the fact that it's not all laryngeal, it's coordinating with the tongue and the hypopharynx and the oropharynx. I mean, it's a lot to consider. But when we put that camera down and looked at your voice box, we're looking at things that, first of all, they don't actually look humanly possible, but beyond that, they don't look like things that we understand almost at all. Like I've just never seen an epiglottis does what your epiglottis is doing when you're doing the helicopter move. I've never seen it. Yeah, that's not how the epiglottis is supposed to work.
Right.
Yeah, it's supposed to fold over the larynx, protect it, and get out of the way. Yeah, and so yours is flapping away. It's a pretty crazy thing. And so I guess what I'm getting at is you're already multitasking a whole lot when you're beatboxing.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot. Like, literally, the amount of things that you have to maintain, both conscious and then also overly trained unconscious control over. And then I think when you add on top of it something like that, where there's a mental requirement to play this, but also to use it musically, artistically, yet realize that there's a requirement. The requirement is that you have to have enough liquid on your fingers, but not too much, and generate the right friction to get the glass to resonate. You know?
Beatboxing. It's interesting because it's based on the culture of it and it being born out of necessity, socioeconomic necessity. It's natural to see the kinesiological techniques be unorthodox, you know, from, I guess, an external scientific point of view. And I think that's also true when other genres and other cultures are exposed to it. You know, they're very unorthodox. They're not that old, really. They're only a few decades old, and the language is still developing. But yeah, it's fascinating to see that there are other unorthodox techniques that can become orthodox over time, and depending on how the experimentation evolves over time with beatboxing and within hip hop, and then the way it mixes in with other cultures as well.